I really like Gwen as a character because I feel like she's a good counter to Nesta, while Emery is someone that Nesta can relate to in different ways.
But that doesn't, yes, agree. My butt is not a bitch slap in your face.
It's a bitch slap to my butt.
I think that Gwyn, although different, although the counter to Nesta, I do think that Nesta's capable of identifying the ways in which they're similar,
Oh,
right?
yes. Yeah.
Gwyn is extra hard on herself in a way that she probably doesn't need to be, but Gwyn probably thinks she deserves it. Nesta can relate to that.
It's the right amount of relatability that you have with friends, right?
Yeah.
There's similarities, there's relatability, but then there's also differences.
Right. Exactly.
Except for us.
We have no differences. Except bra size.
and pant size, but I'm coming for you.
Yeah, you are. Here's where we start to see the friendship forming between Nesta and Gwyn. Quote, Gwyn didn't seem to need more than that, thankfully, and clutched the book to her chest like a treasure. Thank you. You just saved me from a terrible tongue lashing. Now, why did Nesta do it? She probably empathizes in some way, just like she did with the librarian or the priestess she met earlier. But I pay attention to Gwyn's body language here. The fact that the book is being clutched to her chest, not as a shield, but as a treasure. The connotation speaks to how much Nesta's actions mean to her, which is supposed to signal to us, oh, there's a relationship forming.
Yeah. I really like the use of religion in this book. I think it's very interesting, especially when it's coming from Gwyn, because Gwyn tells Nesta, quote, we honor the mother and the cauldron and the forces that be. We have a service at dawn and at dusk and on every holy day. Nesta must have made a face of distaste because Gwen snorted, it's not so dull as all that. The services are beautiful, the songs as fair as any you'd hear in a music hall. There's a couple things. One, in general, in religion, it's hard for me not to come with one big, like, okay. But that's just because I was a cradle Catholic. That's the thing. You can't take away your cradle Catholicism. It's just what you are, even if you don't practice. So I am very sensitive when it comes to religions in book, especially since I'm not a practicing Catholic. But I'm particularly sensitive to religion in this book, in this series, because the first time we experienced the religion in this world was with Ianthe back in Mist and Fury. And as we all know, Ianthe was a corrupt bitch. And now we're meeting Gwyn. So we're starting to get a different taste of what religion can be. And she lists a couple things. We've heard the mother, we've heard the cauldron. We have not heard of the forces that be. It's also giving the Father, the Son, and the Holy Spirit, right? There's always three. But I appreciate what's going on. But again, the forces that be, hello, SJM, introducing a new thing here. What I do want to point out is the fact that Gwen called out the cauldron. And not just Gwen. We're going to hear Cassian say it a couple times. Cauldron, boil me, or something like that, right? Like, just like, by golly, that cauldron. And we have to remember that Nesta herself is made by the cauldron, is part cauldron herself. She took the cauldron's power. I think that there's some kind of Messiah idea coming from this. She is born from the cauldron. It's very Jesus, right? Like, it's very, she is birthed from this God, from this religion, essentially, where everything is born from. And she has the cauldron's power. So therefore, she is almost like a god herself. And they talk about her being similar to a death god. But in the contrast of Nesta amongst these priestesses, I find religion to be very interesting in this dynamic with her, Nesta. So do they honor the cauldron? Are they going to honor Nesta? How can the cauldron be bad? Do they worship her? Just these were random thoughts that I was typing, and I don't know when I typed those.
Well, it's interesting that Nesta doesn't recoil at this idea that the priestesses worship the cauldron, because the cauldron turned Elaine, turned her, she fought it, she's haunted by its power, essentially.
Yeah.
And yet she doesn't think poorly of the priestesses for worshiping the cauldron.
Yeah, yeah.
I think it's either a blind spot in SJM's writing, or Nesta's able to disassociate the Cauldron she encountered from the religious beliefs.
There is something about healing with other women who have also struggled that I find to be very powerful in womanhood. And if you're struggling, highly recommend you find a women's group. Anyway, Gwen is also the light. She is color. She will later on be singing, and her hair will literally light up, and we'll never come back to that again. I forgot that happened. Opposite to Nesta, but the same. When Gwen tells Nesta about the Valkyries, Gwen says, quote, "They let themselves die rather than face the shame of their lost battle in surviving when their sisters had not." That is so similar to Nesta, of not wanting to face her own shame. And I know that it sounds honorable, right? They're so proud that they couldn't face their own shame. But isn't that what Nesta's kind of doing, where she's so proud that she cannot face her shame that she would rather let her life waste away than having to face her own shame and mistakes?
Yeah, it's such a great point. I never really made that connection, but it's true, because just like how Nesta's like, oh, it's a waste that the priestesses are going to stay underground the rest of their lives. It's the same about the Valkyries. It's a waste that they've lost this entire warrior group and practice because they were too proud or too hurt to try to heal.